but I still had David, Geffen's, Jackson, Pollock.
Welcome to our studio.
Great place.
No,
Thanks
we're just
for having
talking off mic that you are not an American. You are a gasp Canadian.
It's true. I'm secretly Canadian. I try to slip through under detection, but
How long have you been here for now?
next year would be year 20.
Oh, yeah, you've adapted.
Is that longer than you've spent in Canada?
I would need 5 more years to, I think, make it even.
It's scary when you hit those points where you realize like there's more time like behind a thing than in front of it.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm constantly doing those equations in my head.
Yeah.
Because you think about like, yeah, when you were a kid and the band you liked or the music, you met a guy, you know, who made a record in, you know, let's say it's 99 and you meet a guy who put out a record in 84. You're like, whoa, this guy's a dinosaur. But then now you think that's 15 years. That's nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's 2010.
Yeah. I don't like doing that.
Which, speaking of, can you introduce yourself? Very
Yes.
quick?
Speaking of old dinosaur, yeah, my name is Nick Thorburn. I make music, I draw, and I write other little secret expressions of the self. But the primary one is music. Yeah, I've had many bands over the years and records released. And
Is that what brought you to the States originally? The music side?
it was for love. I came for love. I stayed. Lord knows why I stayed. When the love ran dry, I moved west.
Yeah.
Kind of a familiar tale, I think.
Yeah.
You go as far west as you can, and
then you remain.
then you remain. Yeah, right. I'm like wedged against the Pacific Ocean. I got nowhere to go.
America kind of does that though. It gets its hooks in. Like there's so many amongst the chaos. There's so many good things here, I think, and so many sounds cheesy, but opportunities and people that are all fucking fascinating. And you stay.
Yes, for all my misgivings, the questionable history of the country, the people, there are some really special people here that I think have persuaded me to stay, I think.
Does that opportunity not feel like it's there in New Zealand or Montreal?
It's a good question. I'll let you go first.
Well, I think we have a similar expression in both regions. The tall poppy syndrome is what we call it in
absolutely.
Canada.
Yeah,
I think
same
it's
thing.
called something else.
Yeah, no, same thing.
Same, yeah.
Yeah,
It's
tall
more of
poppy.
a mental...
Yeah, no, I agree. It's this idea that you can't get too big for your britches, or you're sort of getting a bit arrogant, and there's this idea that people will cut you down. And I think it's over-egged. Like I don't think it's anything like it was.
Yeah.
But it's certainly something you never really feel here. Like I think America has given me more confidence that I wouldn't have had in New Zealand, given my personality, because everyone is so like, yeah.
Yes.
It kind of is a bit infectious.
People cheer each other on, but it is a very individualized culture in America where you're rewarded for pushing to the limit of what you can do as an individual. I think because it props up this project of individualism, which really
it's also shitty.
I think it's detrimental ultimately, but
Yeah.
I think there's a balance to strike.
And I think and the other thing I think about New Zealand is it's just small. So like doing a podcast, something as simple as this, doing a podcast in New Zealand, it's just hard to find, even though you're out on the fucking internet, it's just hard to find an audience. It's
but
like,
this would be the biggest podcast in New Zealand. 10
I'll be
years
insanely
running.
so. Yeah. And there's a few that there's a few New Zealand podcasts that get huge. But generally like this would be New Zealand would be like a bigger
We've got a
one.
decent New Zealand audience still.
We do. You're like, I'd say half of our audience is New Zealand.
Oh, cool.
Because they're always calling me out when I say something derogatory or ignorant about my country.
So David grew up Christian homeschool boy.
Yes.
Okay.
So I'm a bit out of the loop on some certain things.
So he'll be like, we don't have refrigerators or food trucks in New Zealand.
This is like a dog tooth situation.
Yeah, no, a little bit dog toothy. I love that you know that film.
Yeah,
so
I love
good.
that film.
But yeah, occasionally I'll learn that surprisingly, my upbringing was not the same as everybody's.
Got it. That's funny. That's a funny way to realize. Well, similarly, when I came to New York in 2007, I started, how I adapted, I think, so quickly is that I was constantly being highlighted how I was saying words differently. I would talk about my runners instead of my sneakers. I would talk about the expiry date instead of the expiration date. Anytime I said a thing that it would flag, it would hit their ear funny, and they would tease me for it. And I just wanted to fit in and not be teased. So I just adapted, and I stopped saying sorry, and I stopped saying all of these things that would kind of get a get a laugh.
Yeah.
And I know it's a good-natured thing when it would be brought up, but I just want to like fit in and be left alone.
The sorry thing, always apologizing, is a very Kiwi thing as
and
well.
the way and the accent, that long vowels way.
You get it.
Yeah.
The thing that I always find about New Zealand that we do, we're so worried about saying no to something. We say yeah, nah. So if you say like, do you want to go to dinner tonight? Be like, yeah, nah. Like,
Right.
But Americans will hear the yeah and go, that's a yes.
Yeah, nah means
but we're
no.
too worried to give you a no.
Right.
So we give you a little yeah in front of it.
Well, there's a passive aggressiveness to that too, right? And a non-confrontational thing
Absolutely.
that Canada definitely suffers from collectively. I think this idea of like if I stepped on your shoe and you apologized for me stepping on your shoe, that feels very Canadian to me.
Yeah, that's Kiwi, and it's really fucked up.
Yeah.
It's good to feel seen.
We should
finally.
bond. Yeah.
Yeah,
We
this
should-
is
we should-
great. It is very similar. I was saying as well before we started rolling, Canada was the only like family trip my family's taken. When I was like 7, we all the farriers went to Toronto and Vancouver,
Okay.
and it was great. Mounties.
Wow, you really did
You
did the whole country.
big, and we never traveled again. That was it. So one family trip. Yeah, but I loved it there. I love Canada. It's a great place.
You're like, wow, they have, because you went right from homeschooling to
Yeah.
trip. So you're like, they have buses and
Oh my God.
Electricity.
Electricity. Niagara Falls. That blew my mind. That place. Oh my God. Anyway,
yeah.
this isn't a show about Canada.
No, it's not.
It's about America.
That's right.
In this particular show, we do like to sort of be schooled on something we don't know about. And I understand you have a particular passion for a certain type of comic,
Yeah.
comics in general, or just specifically vintage.
Not so much a vintage or a style, but kind of a philosophy.
Okay.
I think when most people think of comics, they think of obviously superheroes.
Yeah. X-Men, Superman.
Yeah. We've gotten to a point where I think people can also think of like Art Spiegelman and Dan Clowes and like, a lot of stuff that's been made into movies and kind of crossed over into the mainstream, like Ghost World, the Dan Clowes comic that became a movie and all that. So underground comics is kind of the thing that has a very American, it's rooted very much in really like a lot of it in San Francisco in the
Right.
60s, like R. Crumb and Freak Brothers and that sort of stuff. That's kind of where that was like a big opening. Obviously my entry to comics was the superhero stuff, but
Like as a kid, you were into comics?
yeah, big time into comics and an illustrator I was drawing as a kid. I wasn't imagine if I was 11 and called myself an illustrator.
Pretentious little
Douchebag.
shit.
It's Canadian thing.
Yeah,
I don't know.
No, I would just draw all the time. I mean, from the beginning, it was way before music, way before anything else. Drawing was my was just my outlet, and it still is. And so once I got into the kind of crevices of comics with Crumb, and then pulling deeper into kind of more contemporary stuff at the time in the 90s when I was a kid, a lot of the stuff from Fantagraphics, the publishing company that put out some Crumb stuff, and they put out some Dan Clowes and Pete Bagg with Hate, and that stuff just started to open up a whole world to me. And yeah, I remember being on a family vacation in Seattle. I was 13 because it was just down the board, on the other side of the border near Vancouver Island, going to Seattle, and like, this is where Fantagraphics this is where Fantagraphics are. And I remember I went to a payphone and I like found their phone number in the back of a comic, and I tried to call them and set up I wanted to see their warehouse or something. I had no idea.
Set up a date.
It was just this fantastical, mystical place. And then cut to like 8 years ago, and I published a book with Fantagraphics.
Oh my God.
Published this. And,
Yeah.
And you guys can have it. So that was a real
Oh, like this pinch yourself.
exciting
Holy shit moment.
Yeah. So yeah, I did bring some comics as like visual aids, but like, you know, this was is one from Arcade from the, you know, this from 75.
And wait, so when you were a kid, what was appealing? Like, what kind of stories are these telling that are perhaps a bit different to like the super mainstream
I mean,
X-Men's and Supermans and Batmans of the world?
Was it the weird, gory?
so I have a new book. I feel like I'm not doing super promo.
No,
This is very
promo
Canadian.
your
Apologize
shit.
for it, but this is
we're allowed to promo ourselves in
okay.
America.
Great, right,
It's
right.
okay.
So this is my new book that's coming out in June called Pearshape on Fantagraphics, and it is very gory.
There's a man being sawed in half by
Yeah,
two
he's
other
being
people.
sawed in half. It's a really, you know, the expression like it's all gone pear-shaped.
Mhm.
So this would maybe suggest that I do like gore, but gore is not the thing that motivates me. In fact, you know, in addition to the Marvel stuff, when I was like younger, like 12 or whatever, and 11, I really loved Calvin and Hobbes, even like as a young kid, like Archie comics.
Mhm.
So, you know, I think I just want funny. Oh, nice. Wow. That's good.
My son is named Calvin.
Oh, wow. Okay.
You're a mega fan.
So
Yeah,
you
over
get
here.
it. Yeah. I mean, and he was such a inspiration, I think. I even wrote Bill Watterson a letter when he stopped publishing, like a thank you letter. And then I got a form letter back that was like, Bill Watterson is no longer doing Calvin and Hobbes, so he can't. I was like, I know. I was writing to
That's the reason.
I'm writing to thank him for his I was such a
Yeah.
nerd. So I think I love, you know, humor is big for me with music. The songs you'll hear, there's like a comedic element, playful way in, I think, to emotion. So I think for me the thing that hooked me with these kind of comics is the humor, is the playfulness.
And it's also like, it's a different way to, like, you're storytelling in song, but it's a different way to tell stories, isn't it? In like this kind of form. Like this interplay of like words and imagery.
Yeah. So that one actually has no word. Penguins, the goal was to try to tell these little stories without any text
Which
specifically.
is so challenging as well.
Yeah. There was like an exploding penis on one of the pages. And there was this like big story in Australia, actually, this big like news story.
Mm.
Some woman, she had like a 6-year-old kid who loved penguins, was obsessed with penguins. And so she found this book, maybe on Amazon or something, but she ordered it and then sitting with her 6-year-old son. And the first page she opens to is this like herpes infested penis that is exploding into a million pieces. And she I guess she went to the local, I don't know, the newspaper or the radio station.
As you do.
Yeah, and it made it made like national headlines in Australia.
That's
I
amazing.
was like interviewed for it.
Some penises.
There's some, yeah. Those aren't even the ones.
I love
There's
how
many
that
penises
news
in there.
wound its way back to you here. That's incredible.
Yeah.
I do like the very influential comic that you find. Like, I remember being a kid going to the convenience store, and there was a comic called Skin Eaters
Whoa.
that was about peeling skin off and eating it. And
Yeah.
like,
yeah.
still remember that cover.
Such an intense concept.
Yeah.
Just sears itself into your brain
Yeah.
as a kid.
Yeah.
Because you want to be shocked as a kid, don't you? Like, or you want to be surprised and you're curious.
And you want to know where the edges are. You know, you want to know what's off limits, what's dangerous, and you want to go as close to that edge, I think, as you can, and then maybe even a bit further if you're
Yeah.
a real freak.
I didn't grow up with comics because homeschooled.
Right.
But when I discovered that
The devil's work.
we don't have those in
Right.
New Zealand. If you don't have comics in New Zealand, since I got to America, I've discovered them. But no, I feel like the only ones I've really gotten into, like Grant Morrison stuff, I
Yeah.
guess more adults. Sort of, he does a thing
Creature.
called The Filth. He did this amazing comic, and some of Alan Moore's stuff, which
Yeah.
is, I feel like, are just like the biggies. But I do like how with comics, it's just you couldn't tell some of the stories that you tell in graphic novels or comics in any other format.
Yeah.
Like it just wouldn't work. It wouldn't work with words, wouldn't work with moving images. And there's something really cool about that.
That's what I'm interested in. So I made that book in 2018, Penguins. There's this emphasis on important comics and lesser important, and that graphic novels are like,
Yeah. Ooh,
it's got novel in the title. I mean, it's like,
serious.
Yeah, it's telling a serious
people.
Typically autobiographical. It's like heavy subject matter. And I tried to wrap my head around that as a way to tell a story. And I was sort of blocked for years until I did the new one, Pearshape. I just decided that's not who I am. I want to do a comic that's just a pure comic.
Mm-hmm.
And it could only be in this medium. It couldn't be adapted into a film ever. It's not a graphic novel, it's a comic book. And I think those distinctions are important. You know, there's a place for graphic novels. I love them, but I love the media, like what you're saying, where this thing could only be this thing.
Yeah.
It's not a failed screenplay that I was like, I guess I'll turn this into a comic.
No, exactly. Like it's very specific and very clear what it can be.
Yeah.
Can you talk through the distinctions between graphic novel and comic?
Personally, like a graphic novel, you know, good example. There's a really good one from Canada called Ducks by Kate Beaton. And it tells the author's story about being on the oil fields in Alberta and just the destitution, it's just a, you know, late capitalism, just extracting resources from the world at like without any care or consideration. And then you've got these shitty conditions, and then you've got these people that are just kind of at the edge of society and how they behave, and they behave kind of poorly. In her case, she was assaulted, and so it sort of tells her story. It's a very harrowing, very serious story, very beautifully told, and you know, an essential book. And like there's so many like that are so good, and it's big, and you know, it's 300 pages or whatever, and you feel like you're reading a novel in graphic form. And then a comic, you know, to me, like one of my favorite comics is Nancy, Ernie Bushmiller. It was a comic strip in the newspaper. It started out as another character, and Nancy was just the niece of this main character in like the 30s or the 40s. And then it just went until his death. And then it even carried on after that. But it's just a gag, you know, it's a gag comic.
Mm-hmm.
There's no like greater goal. I mean, sometimes there is with Calvin and Hobbes. I think there was like, he was touching on some like deeper ideas and stuff.
But generally like more entertainment felt like.
Yeah, not in a disparaging way.
Just simpler. It's not trying to say too much, or it's contained a little bit
It's
more.
contained, and maybe it's a little more hidden. Its meaning is maybe a little more hidden.
I think in New Zealand, like growing up in the paper we had was Garfield and it was Calvin and Hobbes. We had those like little tiny elements of those. And fucking Dilbert, who is that guy ends up just being a fucking knobby.
Dilbert took over. I remember when Calvin and Hobbes ended because Dilbert was the replacement.
That was, and the guy that made Dilbert, I think, was a complete valiant, just like
totally
a horrific
great,
human,
great
right?
guy, great. Like I love his politics.
Yeah, I was shocked when I found out. I'm very late. Found out about his politics. It was just such a, oh my god, that's Dilbert. I like
You need
Dilbert.
to take your
back in the
posters
day.
down.
Yeah, to take my Dilbert posters
So
down.
I was always a Dilbert hater because this was like 95 when Calvin and Hobbes ended and Dilbert took over. So I was like 13, and I felt like Dilbert was personally responsible.
for like killing.
Like I didn't literally feel that, but this was the thing that I always looked forward to, that time in the when I got to like take the funny pages, and it was like, what the fuck is this? And it was just, so I always had an axe to grind with that guy. So it felt vindicating when he came out. It came out that he was like
being a pretty bad
a
person.
sociopath, like terrible guy.
You mentioned penguins.
Yes.
You, and I might be wrong on this, but I feel like your music and comics and everything, like you like the ocean, right? You like little ocean creatures.
Yes.
Is that fair?
Yes. I think it's just embedded in my DNA a little bit.
And I might have read this somewhere. It might be right. It might be wrong. And I'll get to my point of why I'm raising this. But when you were a kid, there was like a famous whale in Canada or something.
Yeah.
Can you just talk through that a little bit? It was like meaningful for you.
Super
and I also know
meaningful.
this whale met a bad end
Yes.
as well.
The whale did, unfortunately. So my dad was a fisheries officer, which is a title that doesn't exist outside of Canada, I think.
We have it in New Zealand.
You do?
We
Okay.
have fisheries.
So again,
Ministry of
see,
Fisheries.
we should just start our spin-off.
We care about the
Commonwealth
ocean. Well, we're
show.
meant to. Although in saying that in New Zealand, we don't really because we still have bottom trawling, which is crazy.
Oof.
But we're meant to care about the ocean and how many fish
Sure.
we're getting out.
This is the passive-aggressive thing. You just
Yes.
pretend to care and
Whilst ruining everything.
avoid the sticky conversations. Well, so the whale, it's quite a tale. It's a long story, but
It's okay.
this whale did show up in this little inlet where my dad worked. And he had to deal with it. It was like, there's a killer whale just showed up here. It's like bumping into the boats. It's like, it's being a nuisance. Like,
So it wasn't stranded. It was just hanging out.
they didn't know. It just had showed up. It showed up in this little tiny like village on the coast of Vancouver Island. Nobody knew where it came from. Quickly they discovered it had gotten lost. It was a calf or like a baby whale. The story was that its uncle had taken.
Don't know why that's funny.
It feels weird that they have uncles and aunts, but these whales are
Not
they're
genetically,
social.
just
They're
like
social.
relationally uncle.
right. Yeah, it's like when you say you have an uncle.
It's his
but
dad's friend.
It's
that they call
exactly. It's his
uncle.
buddy. Yeah. He doesn't have a real uncle, but so his uncle took him fishing. So they left the pod, and then the theory is that the uncle met his like end somehow on this little excursion, and the whale got stranded, lost, and was like ended up in this little bay. Didn't know how to get home, and then was they're very personable creatures and social animals, and so it started to interact with humans. And obviously there's a novelty factor of like, oh, this whale, we can feed it and it'll hang around, it'll keep coming back. And so my dad had to be this in between the animal and people and keep it separated, but was also, there was the First Nations band in the area was like, that is the spirit of our Chief McQuina, who had died very recently, and said, I'm going to come back as an animal.
Oh, holy shit.
And I think he even said a whale. And so there was, then you have the government, who's, historically the bad guy in these stories. My dad is working for the government, so he's really between a rock and a hard place here, where he's truly one of the like purest souls there is, was trying to do the right thing by the First Nations community here, by the whale that needed to be reunited with its family, and also keep all of these looky-loos that were coming in as tourists to like drop their baby in the mouth of the whale and like feed it cereal.
And as news spreads, probably more and more people coming for this like tourist attraction.
Yeah,
almost.
it became a bit of a circus. So I got to go out there with my dad while he worked and see the whale. And
how old were you then?
I was a teenager then. So I was a bit older. But it went on. I think the whale, at some point they just sort of threw up their hands and said, okay, the whale, this is just where the whale lives now. Because the difficulty finding a way to get the whale reunited with its pod, because these are like whales that
they travel so far.
They're resident, but they do a huge journey along the coast. So you had to like time this reunification. And it just didn't work. And it's a very sad story and very complicated.
Stay tuned for more Flightless Bird. We'll be right back after a word from our sponsors. Support for Flightless Bird comes from Wild Alaskan. Now, we've talked about this on the show before, but we're not big fans. We're not experts at buying fish in the supermarket.
Buying fish is hard, especially I grew up in the Midwest. You don't have access to a lot of good fish in the Midwest, so it was never something I was taught as a kid at the grocery store. I didn't see my mom didn't eat fish.
Same thing for me growing up. Yeah, and fish is one thing that you want to get good fish.
Right. And as I got older and started appreciating food more, I do like fish a lot, but I still have no idea how to buy fish at a grocery store.
And that is where Wild Alaskan Company comes in. It's the best way to get wild caught perfectly portioned, nutrient-dense seafood delivered directly to your door. And trust me, you haven't tasted fish this good.
Yeah, you just got a big box of Wild Alaskan. I saw it when I dropped you off after the Magic Castle.
It's the best. I ordered a whole lot of different like portions and sizes, and it's so good.
And you've been cooking it on the stovetop?
I just did some salmon in my air fryer. Air fryer is very novel to me. We don't really have that in New Zealand. So air frying the salmon, it's so good.
Wild Alaskan fish, they're 100% wild caught, never farmed, which means there's no antibiotics, no GMOs, or additives. Just clean, real fish that support healthy oceans and fishing communities.
It's also sustainably sourced. Wild caught from Alaska, every order supports sustainable harvesting practices, and your membership delivers flexible shipments, expert tips, and truly feel-good seafood.
And if you're not completely satisfied with your first box, Wild Alaskan Company will give you a full refund, no questions asked, no risk, just high-quality seafood.
Not all fish are the same. Get seafood you can trust. Go to wildalaskan.com/bird for $35 off your first box of premium wild-caught seafood.
That's wildalaskan.com/bird for $35 off your first order. Thanks to Wild Alaskan Company for sponsoring this episode.
Well, the reason I brought it up as well is because in New Zealand, we had a dolphin, Oppo, and there was like a kid's book written about it, Oppo, the friendly dolphin. And it was a dolphin that just turned up, and everything you've just said clocks the same as Oppo.
Yeah.
It was like people having to figure out, scientists having to figure out what we can do to get this dolphin back with its pod. Can't do that. How you stop people, because humans just want to fucking they'll pat a fish like they want to pat a cat, you know. Not that a dolphin's a fish, but it's like people want to touch, and that's not great, right? So just dealing with all of that, and then ended up just being, okay, Oppo lives here now. It's always going to be here. And Oppo ended up dying from, I think, it's like too much like touching, or there was a theory at one point that someone was fishing with like dynamite and like let off an explosion, and Oppo was too close and got fucked up with that.
Jesus, fishing with dynamite. That sounds like a
That's
terrible
not a
TV
common.
show.
That's not a common
That's a New
thing
Zealand
in
thing?
New Zealand, but that's one of the theories on how.
And then all the fish just float to the top.
float to the surface. But that was that was national news the day Oppo died, and just knowing what I knew about you and that whale, I sort of thought of that as well, because the whale ended up it died.
Yes, it
in
was
a bad way.
It was hit by the rudder of a boat.
Just got chopped up into like a million pieces.
No, I think one, but it was just a fatal blow to the head.
Ugh.
And my dad had a theory that the whale wasn't happy. I want to make it clear that like the First Nations, the Muchala, I think I'm pronouncing that wrong, but the community there, my dad was working with them, and they had reasons to be suspicious of the government because certain section of the DFO, the Department of Fisheries, I think there was some, and I don't want to be getting the facts wrong here, but there was the Vancouver Aquarium where certain whales were being sent to live in captivity. And I think there was a fear that if we can't reunite this whale with its pod, we're going to put him in the aquarium.
It'll be taken and put in a tank.
I think there was suspicion how hard they would try. And so my dad was in a really difficult situation, but he handled it really well and respectfully, and it just at the end it was just kind of an unfortunate situation, and it was an accident. But
I think it's just the consequences of having a ton of people around
a
creature like that.
Yeah.
And did that kind of lead a bit to your love of ocean related things? Was that part of that journey, or
a little bit? I mean, so the first Islands record, there is a song titled Suki. That's the name of the whale the local First Nations gave the animal, but it was known as Luna in the press or whatever. So that first Islands record uses more of a setting than a theme, I guess, with the ocean, and it kind of tied into that because the whale was still alive when we made that record.
Yeah, right. And then imagery is occasionally popping up in your comics as well with penguins.
I guess so. Penguins to me I don't even think of them as aquatic. I think of them as just a sad. I think the fun way in for that was it's just a bird that can't fly. I mean, it just feels like a curse. It feels like a cruel
Flightless
nature.
bird. Yeah,
Right.
pathetic. It's so sad.
Oh, weird. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
good that I brought
No, it's
literally the title of the show.
Something. Okay, credits. We're out. No, but it is. It's sad that these birds can't fly. It is. It's something a bit like, God, I wish you guys could fly.
It's their one thing.
Yeah, don't have it. Another thing we like to do in this show is I want to be educated about sort of American drinks and snacks.
Oh, yeah.
I understand you're bought in something
I brought
very important to you.
Well, it's very it is important to me, but it is very much it's very niche. These are homemade. I don't know if that freaks you guys out.
God, it does.
Okay,
But
good.
there's a level of trust here.
And they're in like these little drug bags. So this is just popcorn.
This is popcorn. I
But
know
it-
this. We
but
have
it's-
this in New Zealand.
But it's what I brought my own, so just so you know, I'm not poisoning you. A smaller bag.
Oh, it's
Um,
differentiate.
But
okay.
this is my proprietary blend. It's the seasoning that
We love popcorn.
I do love it. I have a text chain with people about popcorn.
you do. Okay.
Yeah, Rob will sometimes go to a cinema to buy like good cinema popcorn to take home
I've seen people
and
do that.
watching stuff.
Yeah,
Rob
Los
is
Feliz
one of
3 is
those.
right down the
I've
street.
seen people
Like-
go to Los Feliz 3 just to buy the popcorn.
They
Yeah.
do good popcorn.
Vista
do.
does
Yeah.
it too. Yeah.
Okay.
So what I do is I bring my little tincture with my secret blend, and then I go to
Oh.
the movie theater. And
No, you obviously can't give away the ingredients, but what is the vibe of this?
I would say umami is the leading kind of profile, and then you've got a little bit of a tang and tart and just a dash of sweet.
How long have you been manufacturing this for friends, family, yourself?
I keep it personal. I haven't like franchised it yet, but I
It's
guess
very good.
it's been about 10 years sitting with this.
This is great.
I'll have exes come up to me, say like, "I don't miss you at all, but I miss that popcorn."
Got any bags of that popcorn?
Well, how are you making microwave popcorn? What's your
No,
process for making popcorn?
I use kernels on the
On the
stove.
stove.
But
Okay.
but I do like to just go to the movies, order a popcorn, ask for no butter, and then add my own. Oh yeah, because there's
Will you
there's
just be carrying this around in your pocket and just sort of shake it into
I have a little tincture
That's great.
with a little dropper.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's some liquid to it.
There's some liquid, and then there's nutritional yeast is the like dry component that's in there.
This is great.
Oh, and there's toad venom.
yeah. Just
So in
announced.
about 35 minutes, you guys are gonna get.
This podcast is going to get
gonna get weird.
really weird. And you've got a beverage to wash this down with? Is there
I do have a
that
beverage for you. Oh, sorry, I only have one. Sorry, Rob.
We'll share. You're bought
Those
in
are hard to come by.
a Spindrift.
Yeah.
The
It's a specific flavor.
This is passion fruit orange guava. Non-alcoholic. I didn't think you could get an alcoholic Spindrift.
For a while you could. There was a
Get
brief
out of town.
period where they had spiked spindrifts. I remember seeing them at Albertsons, but they
Outrageous.
stopped.
This is an island punch.
I didn't even, I'm not doing these things consciously. The flightless bird penguins, the island thing.
Main
Coming
ingredient in
together
this,
very
kiwi.
well. Yeah. What is it about Spindrift that you enjoy?
Well, look, I don't want to say you have to bleep all this out until they agree to send me
A shit ton
of
Spindrifts.
because I'm not giving free publicity, but it's just really good. I don't know how they do it. I mean, I do know how they do it because I've infused my own fruit and soda water.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So you're infusing everything in your life.
I'm an
An alchemist.
except blood.
All these little potions that you're
Yeah.
injecting into everything.
I go crazy for guava. I discovered guava like last year at a farmer's market, and it just made me. It like opened a portal in my brain.
This
but
is great.
it's crazy.
This is a great flavor.
Yeah,
A little sip.
yeah. It's crazy how good that is.
Now, the other main brand, I feel like, certainly in Los Angeles, what's the other main fizzy one that everyone has? LaCroix.
That was
LaCroix.
LaCroix was the one, the writer's room from
So
like
what
2015 or
is
something.
there a is there a distinction between the two, between
Yeah,
a
those are
Spindrift
that's
and a
Fago without. I'll probably get sued for this.
Oh
but
wow.
allegedly,
Yeah.
it's Fago without the sugar.
I've never heard that before.
Apparently,
That's
it's bottled
very
in
funny.
the same. It's bottled in the same facility in Michigan, or it was
That is great
allegedly.
intel to have.
So those are like essences
Mhm.
of varying. It's very like what is in this? We don't really know. That it's it's kind of like my popcorn. It's proprietary, but the Spindrift, it just tells you like in this, I don't want to be giving these fuckers free advertising.
I do this sometimes. I just be talking about something enthusiastically, and it's like I'm doing an ad right now.
I don't.
And they're not giving me anything for it, which does enrage me.
I guess I can send them this episode.
And then they'll reach out, offer to the ad, but you've already done it. Like Invisalign, you got an offer to do Invisalign, and
so frustrating.
He's like, I already
started fucking Invisalign as a 43-year-old.
It's just like squeezed fruit in there, and that's kind of it. I mean, unless
it goes well with the popcorn as well. I have to say, this is a great combo.
Okay, good.
If we were just watching a movie right now, it'd be a perfect.
Should we just put? We got a TV right here.
We got a TV right here.
Put Nirvana the band on and just
Dogtooth
or Dogtooth.
Is there anything you really miss about Canada when you're here? Because when I think New Zealand, it's like New Zealand makes a really good coffee. We have some really good oceans. And so it's really beautiful jumping in the ocean there. What is it about Canada that you're like, oh man, I wish I had a bit of this around?
Canada's got a lot of problems, but I do think in general, we talked about the bad side of that, like sort of non-confrontational, sometimes passive-aggressive way that Canadians and maybe New Zealanders can express their feelings. But I do sort of miss this slightly more gentle way of existing. But, I'm not a patriot. I don't have any national sense of identity. I have my own experience, and my own experience is particular to Vancouver Island, which is by the ocean, and I do feel very drawn to that particular climate, I guess, and I guess there's just a certain temperament that I sometimes miss. Although sometimes I go back and it just drives me nuts because
it's like it's time to go.
It's time to go. So I do feel kind of like a man on an island, I guess. I feel like a man without a home sometimes. Like I don't really belong anywhere.
I get it. What do they say? Home is where the heart is, isn't it? That's what they say.
I think that at an Airbnb I had that.
Workers.
That was on an Airbnb. Needlework.
Eat, pray. What is it? Eat,
live, laugh,
live,
love.
Laugh. Yeah.
You're gonna play some songs.
Yeah.
Before you do, I think you're gonna tell us about one of them.
3 songs. You got 3 songs.
I got 3 in the chamber. The one I can talk about. The first one I'll do is called "Ready to Die," and it's one of the first songs I ever wrote from my first band that I had with 2 other fellas called The Unicorns. And that record came out in 2003. So we were in high school, my friend Alden and I started this band, and we took it as far as it could go, but it burned kind of bright, and we had 1 record, and then that's all we could kind of do. But it has this sort of, it kind of works for the band. I mean, it's called The Unicorns, and it's this mythical thing. Like, did it ever exist? And, it's kind of maybe extinct, and who knows? But so it's sort of a fitting thing. And death was for some ridiculous reason, death was kind of the concept we were going with on this album.
It's a big one.
High school motif.
Yeah, I guess we were a little bit moody and that sort of thing. So the album opens with a song called "I Don't Want to Die," and it ends with a song called "Ready to Die," and so it kind of ties in. And that band broke up, and I started with the drummer Jamie. We started Islands, and the first song on that is called Swans, but in brackets, Life After Death. So it's sort of this Notorious B.I.G. thing of like the life after the thing. And then, on an island in the sea, this weird sort of subconscious thing where I was almost like foretelling my future. But it's just one of the first songs I wrote, and so I thought it's kind of nice to go all the way back sometimes.
Before the music, what are you doing now?
So I have a new record with my friend Mike Stroud, who had a band called Rat-a-Tat previously. And we've been working on this record for a little while, and it's finally coming out, so it's very exciting. And it's called The Creem. We have 2 songs out, and Taste of Cherry and Goodbye. And the album is available for pre-order. And it's kind of a blend of Rat-a-tat and Islands, but kind of kinksy, ELO,
Cool.
Beatlesy sort of thing, I guess. Overrated, but no, just kidding. But 60s sort of thing. We want to go even further back in time. But it's a really fun record. So I'm really, really excited about that. That's coming out June 5th.
Mm-hmm.
And then 11 days after, June 16th, an album, my comic Pearshape on Fantagraphics is coming out. So cherry and pear, you get all your fruit.
Also,
servings.
I do love that you are releasing on this favorite label that you had as a kid. Like, that's pretty special.
It feels really special. They
finally took your call from the phone box.
Yeah, did you get to go to the warehouse and see?
Yeah, they let you in. Yeah,
I went to the warehouse years later to when Penguins came out, and they let me grab a bunch of stuff, which was
heaven.
exciting.
Just running around on the shelves.
Yeah, and I still all the time order. Like, I'll always, if I go to a great secret headquarter really nearby, I always go there, comic book store, and pick up comics, and we'll always find good stuff on Fantagraphics. So I'm like still a fan. It feels like two versions of myself. It's a very kind of surreal thing. It's like, oh, I'm actually in the club here, but I feel like still like just such an outsider who just loves the work that they do. So yeah, it's a huge privilege and honor to be in the fold.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Fucking A. Thank you.
Thank you guys so much for having me. That was really
Thanks for coming
sweet.
in. I mean, it's like amazing to be able to do this because you can just like listen to you play music. It's like great. You're gonna eat popcorn.
Right. You have something to snack on while I play. All right. The song's called David Geffen's Jackson Pollock from the Last Islands album, What Occurs. I found David Geffen's Jackson Pollock. He fell off a truck near the beach. At least that's where I got it. Tried to move it for a record. $200 million. But these jackals, these vampires, they offered me something much smaller. Impressionist work, or whatever you call it. It was David Geffen's Jackson Pollock. So when I showed up, lifted my coat up to reveal the painting, pig suddenly rolled up, afraid that this might happen. Took out my box cutter, their faces slackened as it pushed against the canvas.
knelt down. As I climbed back in what might have been the world's slowest getaway, but I still had David, Geffen's, Jackson, Pollock. I still had David, Geffen's, Jackson, Pollock. And I still had David, Geffen's, Jackson, Pollock. Okay, this song is called Ready to Die off the Unicorns album from 2003. I woke up thirsty on an island in the sea. I woke up hungry with hungry cougars surrounding me. I hit the soft spot, in the soft spot of my head. It made me tired, so I sung from my bed. I'm ready to die. I'm ready to die. I'm ready to die. A sort of switchblade, any way you cut it. I'm not afraid. I know I'm gonna get it. Oh, maker of such fine products as palm trees and the Dead Sea. Don't pardon me, there's nothing rude. Things conclude as I slurred that chorus. The ghost got Biggie Small, sounds like a drill. The death sweat suits me, the death threat provides a thrill. I've seen the world, kissed all the pretty girls, and I said my goodbyes, and now I'm ready to die. Look what they've done to my song, Mom. Look what they've done to my song. Well, it's the only thing that I could do half right, and it's turning out all wrong, Ma. Look what they've done to my song. Look what they've done to my brain, Mom. Look what they've done to my brain. Where they picked it like a chicken bone, and I think I'm half insane, Mom. Look what they've done to my song. Wish I could find